Right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, panelists. My name is Gadhoni Mbogwa. I am a clinical psychologist and an individual who is very passionate about today's topic. And I'm very, very excited because we have such a wonderful, large, I think this is the largest panelist we have had. So I guess that means more knowledge. So I'm looking forward to learning. Health is a state of the body, and wellness is a state of the mind. And as we all know, or if you don't know, there are five dimensions of wellness where we look at social, spiritual, physical, emotional, and intellectual. And we will be discussing with this panel today, just mainly focusing on what is this about. I know we've been having a lot of conversations about mental health, focusing a lot on diagnosis, but what is this wellness? How can we incorporate it in our day-to-day lives? And I think this is just the best time to have this conversation as we, really delve into the year. So allow me to welcome my wonderful panelists. We have Rebecca here with us. We also have Leshan. We have Yvonne. We also have Joy, Paul, Purity, and Faith. I am going to allow my panelists to introduce themselves and tell us something small about themselves. I'll start with you, Rebecca, because you're the top of my grid. So welcome, Rebecca. Please introduce.
Thank you so much, Gadhoni. My name is Rebecca Cherop. I come from Kitale. I am a mental health advocate and also very passionate about mental health. I have a lived experience. I am a writer. I write so much about health and mental health. And also, besides that, I'm the founder of the Semicolon Nation, which is a community based organization mainly dealing in mental health and sexual reproductive health. Yeah, thank you.
Gosh, sorry. Thank you so much, Rebecca. As we continue with this conversation, maybe you'll also tell us about what the semicolon actually means. Okay, just remind me if I forget. Next on this wonderful panel, we have Mr. David Odhiambo. Karibu sana. Please tell us something short about yourself.
Hi, Gadoni. Hi, everyone. I'm Odhiambo David Paul. I'm an intern at Life Pillars Counseling and Consultancy. I'm also a student at Kenyatta University, doing my last semester. I'm in fourth year. I love to journal, meet new people. I also love to travel and seek new challenges. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, David. We are excited to have you here today. And let me just mention before I progress, I think this is also the first time that we have more men than women in the panel. Yes, that's very exciting. New year, wonderful things happening. Next on my grid, we have Miss Purity. Karibu sana, please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I am Purity Ashkoe, a community development specialist. I work in Naivasha. I am very passionate about mental health because it is something that affects us all. But in particular, I have personally had a few issues with mental health. And I am really looking forward to working with the youth in my area, the women in my area, just so that we can unpack the whole mystery surrounding mental health. So I'm so glad to be here and looking forward to this discussion.
Thank you so much. Purity, we are honored to have you here today. Let's go to Yvonne Oko. Karibu sana. Please unmute.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes, my name is Evon Umondiouko, not Yvonne, just a correction.
Right.
As
Thank
I
you.
am a tourism professional, currently working as a lodge manager, and I do tourism article writing and I do tour consultancy. So I'm great to be in this panelist, and I hope to learn something today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yvonne, for that. I hope I got that right. We are really honored to have you on our panel today. Allow me to go to Leshan Kereto. Leshan, karibu sana.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Leshan Kereto. First time to be here as a panelist. And basically, what I do is I'm a clinical medicine student at Egerton University. So I'm also a student leader nationally and internationally. I also serve as a sexual and reproductive health advocate, an anti-FGM activist. And that way, I serve at a community-based organization called Pareto Africa in Narok. And I also serve as the chairperson of the United Nations Populations Fund Youth Advisory Panel in Kenya. So as you can hear a little bit, my bio is a little bit filled up, and so I get to do a lot. So I'm currently maybe representing those people who are really juggling between this and that, medicine and community work and student leadership. And so mental health is so important for me to be able to be well enough to serve in those capacities. And so I'm here to learn. I'm here to share my experiences. I'm here to tell you how I am able to juggle around, and also you tell me how you're able to juggle around what you do, and that way together we can all be well. Otherwise, thank you so much. I'm glad and excited to be part of the conversation.
All right. Thank you so much, Leshan, for that. Uh, we have two other panelists here, Manoti, Edwin. Please introduce yourself. As we wait for Edwin to come on, allow me to introduce my friend and my colleague, Madam Kathleen. I'm excited to have you on this panel. Please tell us something about yourself. Please unmute.
Sorry for that. Hi, everyone. Yes, as you've heard, my name is Kathleen or Kate. I work at Chiromo Hospital Group. I'm a fetal psychologist and I also work in the wellness department. So I'm really excited to be part of this panel. I'm really excited to learn with everyone because this is a learning opportunity and I'm really excited to hear everyone's points of view. Yes, thank you so much for having me.
All right, welcome, Kathleen. I'm honored to host you today. And last but not least, we have Joyce Njogu. Please introduce yourself and tell us, yeah, something, one or two things about yourself. Joyce? All right. I think Joyce is, okay, she's coming back on. All right. Yes. So today is Thursday afternoon. And for those who are joining us for the first time, every Thursday between 3 and 4, we host live conversations with a number of panelists. And these conversations are just mainly to delve on different type topics and for us to hear from different kind of people. And today we are talking about wellness, and I'm just going to repeat again that there are 5 dimensions, although there are some studies that show 8 dimensions of wellness. So allow me to start with Kathleen here. Looking at all these dimensions of wellness, why do you think wellness is an important aspect in our daily lives?
Sorry.
Please
Hi.
unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello. Well, it's first and foremost, wellness is a state of, well, when an individual is in a, well, they're aware, they're in touch with well-being per se. It's a state of well-being in itself, and it constitutes the mental health as one of the dimensions of an individual's wellness when it comes to the five dimensions of wellness. It's important that, or rather, it's imperative that none of these dimensions, the five or the eight, are neglected because they accumulate to a person's physical health and mental health. Basically, that's why wellness is important in its own, or rather, when you constitute the eight or the five dimensions.
All right. Thank you so much, Kathleen, for that. Allow me just to hear from one of our gentlemen, maybe Leshan, in your own, from your own walk of life, why do you think wellness is an important aspect in our daily lives? I think you're muted.
Hey, thank you. I think wellness is an important component of what we do because at the end of the day, being well means that you're able to enjoy life and you're able to really achieve what you came here for. As we know that life is short. I mean, according to what everyone else, you want to be in a position where you prioritize your goals. So the only way you can prioritize your goals is when you're well. Because let us take a car for example. If you're one of your doors does not work, your mind will focus on that. Your mind will focus on that. You will not focus on where you're going. So I think when the guy is well, you're able to focus on where you're going. That way, same to our body. When we are well on the
I have lost you there, Leshan.
achieve as much as we can in a short time. And so I think wellness is one of the most important things when it comes to whatever we want to achieve. It's a foundation of life, and people need to be well for them to be able to really achieve what brought them here. So that is why it's important. We need to start by really knowing that we are okay, like the car is already okay. That way we can focus and prioritize on the goals that we have for the future. So to me, it's priority to life. It's the basis of our goals, and it's where we should start with if we want a fulfilling life. Back to you, Gadoni. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Leshan and Kathleen. Wonderful points right there. To be fair, let me just hear from the rest of the panelists. Rebecca, why do you think wellness is an important aspect of our lives?
Well, thank you, Gadoni. Wellness is important because um, I believe that maintaining an optimal level of wellness is crucial in living a higher life. Everything we do and every emotion we feel relates to all our well-being. Everything falls back to our well-being, and so it matters because everything that we do and every emotion that we have relates to how we feel, how we think, and so this directly affects our actions and emotions. Yeah, so I believe that it's an ongoing process. It's something that you are intentional about. So, for example, you exercise, you eat well, you are able to cope with stress, you are able to wake up every morning and go to work. So, it's something that you intentionally do. And so, it's very important that we achieve optimal wellness in order to subdue stress, uh, maybe also reduce illness, mental illnesses, physical illnesses, and ensure positive reactions. Because when you look at all the dimensions, there's the social dimension bit of it. How are you socializing? So for me, it's very important because it directs how we live life, how what we do, how we think, and what we feel. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, from that. You've heard from our panelists why wellness is an important aspect of our lives. We've heard that, if one part of you is not doing well, then your focus tends to go that way. We've heard from Kathleen that this is also part of, our overall mental health, and we've also heard, from Cherop in regards to just maintaining optimal wellness and how that also directs our lives and our goals. Let me hear from Purity, who is here with us as our panelist today. Is it important to for an individual to maintain all these dimensions of wellness, like the five of them, from your own opinions?
Sorry, Gadoni. Just I lost you for a bit there. So
Sorry, we are talking about wellness and the five dimensions of wellness. In your own opinion, is
yeah.
it important for individuals to maintain all the five dimensions? Is it actually possible, and why? Yes. Hi, Purity.
Okay. Thank you so much, Gadoni. To be able to attain the wellness per se, then in essence, all the dimensions are supposed to be fully functional. But then in our day to day lives, in an ideal situation, my physical well being is supposed to be top notch for me to be able to function. Yeah. Okay. For me to be able to function properly, physically, I am supposed to be well, that I have a fully functional body, that I am able to work without pain, without dysfunction. Intellectually, I should be able to carry out conversations. I should be able to engage in critical thinking. I should be able to have a desire to learn and solving problems. And emotionally, then my feelings are not, supposed to be all over. I am supposed to adequately respond to stress and in a manner that is not extreme, in a manner that is not severe. I should be able to share my issues, and I should be able to show empathy with other people. And socially, I should be able to connect with people. And spiritually, I should be able to, have that wellness spiritually. So all these I am saying in an ideal situation, because we have a lot of stresses that come about, and you find that, just as my fellow panelists have said, if one aspect of our well-being, if I am not well physically, then it will affect my emotions, and it will affect me mentally. So I would say that it is really important to have all these aspects coordinating well together.
All right. Thank you, Purity, for that. We've heard, her really giving wonderful examples of how actually all these dimensions of wellness kind of pour into each other and affect each other. Yvonne, I'm wondering, what do you do to maintain these dimensions of wellness? And also, I'm just wondering, are you able to maintain all of them?
Yes, thank you. To maintain the optimal wellness, is not a kind of a easy thing, but we can all give it a try by trying to strengthen all the dimensions, like the physical, mental, the spiritual. Though I've heard you talking about five to eight, but there's a time I came across 10 of the dimensions. So it's to on my capacity, like I'll just give example. When I want to achieve my physical dimension of wellness, I have some regular routines, so I do hike a lot. It's part of my profession. I do some scheduling, like the lodge where I work. We are more of a wellness retreat. We do things like yoga. So that's how I do achieve my physical wellness. Have a adequate sleep. And sometimes when I want to achieve other dimensions, like mental dimension, I'll just try some. What works for me is always I like relaxing on maybe on a nature. Just want to be alone, but I don't think that's applicable to everyone. So my point is, it's not easy to achieve the optimal wellness, but we can give it a try by trying to strengthen all the dimensions. Thank you.
Thank you. I love that, and thank you for being honest with us and saying that, yeah, indeed, it's not very easy, but we can be more intentional about it, and just, strengthen them one by one. I can see David smiling very hard. I don't know if it's the optimal mental wellness. Um, Please share with us. Are you able to maintain the different dimensions of wellness, and what do you do?
Thank you so much, Gathoni. So, just to reiterate on what Rebecca and Purity and Oko have said, yes, it's not possible to uh, maybe achieve everything that pertains to wellness as it is, but it's possible now, personally as a person, to make an endeavor or strive, if possible. There's need for every human being to strive to achieve the aspect of this wellness. And you've asked me a question on how I manage or I manage to meet the demands of wellness. So as for me, these are the things that works for me. It may not work for someone else. Like the first speaker said, it's an active personal pursuit. So as for me, what I'll do is that I'll build on strong relationship and maybe increase my aspect of connectedness by socializing with my friends, making sure that I don't miss out on any team building activity or any time when my colleagues are meeting. Another thing is I I normally try to be active, uh, maybe an hour or maybe for 30 minutes. And when I say being active is working on your physical aspect, that is keeping yourself hydrated. So I normally keep myself hydrated. I take a walk. I may bask in the sun a little bit. Then I also try to be mindful of my thoughts because, like most of us we are not really mindful of our thoughts. It's like we are there and we are not also there. So I cherish every moment that I interact with, and I make sure that each and every time that uh, I maybe I'm challenged to do something, I rise to the occasion. And just to conclude, I keep on learning new skills and reading something. I know most people think that learning a new skill or trying to keep your mind active, it may sort of refer to educating yourself or enrolling yourself in a college or something. But it's not that. Like these are simple skills. These are simple issues that you don't need you don't need to engage yourself in any complex activity to achieve. So as for me, I read books, I journal, and I challenge myself by uh, uh, making sure that I solve each and every problem. I don't run away from them. Thank you very much, Gathoni.
All right. Thank you so much, David, for that. And just sharing your cup of wisdom. We've been joined by Shamir and TJ, and I'm just wondering, what do you do? What do you do to maintain these dimensions of wellness?
Thank you for this opportunity. I'm sorry, actually, I lost along the way. I got lost. I would say the dimensions of wellness, they all encompass the greater perspective of being, having a holistic point of view to life. And this captures on the issues of the mind, the body, and the spirit. And when you look at it from who we are and what we are, dependent on what you do on a daily basis, when you talk about the body, the mind, and the spirit, I look at it from the perspective of a computer and the software. This is the body is the hardware of who we are, and the mind and the spirit is the software now. And if, for example, as a person, you're not cautious enough to take care of the hardware, no matter how good the software is, it will not function. So the greatest point of view is taking care of your body. This can encompass uh, exercising. This can encompass doing something that keeps your body busy, or something that rejuvenates the energy within you. And when you look at it from the point of the software, now this is the mind and spirit. Is about feeding yourself with positive kind of information, reading books. I love, for example, like me, I love writing poems and journaling. This is one of the ways that I find I connect to my whole being. So it all depends with what you think as a person is the best mode to bring out the best in you. Thank you.
Thank you, TJ, for that. Shamir? I think he could have dropped off, but thank you all of you for just sharing your different aspects in regards to what you do to maintain all of these dimensions. And I'll just get back to what Evan said, that it's not easy. In fact, most of the time, some of these things slip off our minds until it's worst case scenario. That's when you remember, oh, I've not been taking care of my social wellness, or spiritual, or physical. And I like the idea of being more intentional, and you can only be more intentional if you set out to do it. And you can also be more intentional if you write it somewhere where you can look at, what have I this week, have I been able to practice this and this and this. And like David said, it's important to just establish what works for you. Yeah. Just because it's working for somebody else does not mean it's necessarily going to work for you. So just find that thing that is yours, and go with it. Allow me to invite Rebecca Chero back again, to just tell us, what is the link between mental health and wellness? I think you could be muted. Rebecca?
Sorry, can you hear me
Sorry.
now?
Yes.
Okay. So the link between mental,
Health.
yes, mental health and wellness for me is mainly mental health is a positive concept.
I think we are losing Rebecca. Right. Anyway, as we wait for her to get back, we have actually the in charge of Wellness at Chiromo Hospital Group. And I think it's such an honor to have her here in this panel. So, Kathleen, what is the link between mental health and wellness?
Wow. The link is, I think the link comes from the definition of mental health itself. You know, the WHO defines mental health as a state of well-being in which whereby an individual, you're able to realize your own potential, you're able to cope with the normal life stresses once you realize this own potential, you're able to cope with stress and be productive in three dimensions of your life. That is individual, the way you interact with yourself, social, the way you interact with the people around you, that includes your family and your friends, and then finally occupational, where do you get your meaning and your life's purpose from? When you're able to understand the idea or the concept of mental health definition, it means that we have good mental health and poor mental health. So an individual who is able to cope with the normal life stresses, because stresses are there and we have types of stresses, be they positive or the negative. When you're able to realize and to decipher the stressors, when you're able to swim through them and to cope with them and still be productive, and they do not cause you to be sort of unwell, you're able to become well in its state. Let me take a classic example of intellectual wellness. With intellectual or rather emotional wellness, with emotional wellness, and it builds, or rather, when an individual is aware on how to take care of themselves, is aware and keeps track of their emotional state. When you wake up in the morning and you realize, okay, today I have a toothache, so my tolerance level, you're able to know that my tolerance level is a bit minimalized. So you are keeping track of yourself and the way you react, you're coping with the normal life stressors. You need to go to work at the end of the day. You have a target to meet at the end of the day. You need to do certain things. So when you're able to keep track, you're able to have emotional intelligence as a way of having the emotional wellness taken care of. You're able to have emotional intelligence. You're able to know how to react in certain ways and in certain things and in certain situations. You're able to have emotional resilience, which brings about mental resilience. This is now where the link of mental health comes from. You have these challenges and frustrations. You're aware of them and you know the mechanisms to put in place. If you feel stressed out, you could as easily, when you feel like you have so much piling up on you and you are aware of what you can do mentally or physically to make yourself better, you could walk out of the office and take a breather, or you could do something we call a breathing exercise. Take a step back, breathe, get yourself to the baseline, and then become a little bit more effective, or know when to log off on a situation. Just shut down, go have a meeting with yourself, and then come back. You will be able to react well in an environment that warrants sort of a negative, in an emotive environment. You'll be able to react appropriately or accordingly. Yes.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much, Kathleen, for that. Very good insight. I think you've left that with me. First of all, it's just trying to understand what exactly is this mental health, because there's usually that confusion between what mental health is and mental illness itself. So if we actually are able to acknowledge or know the four main pointers, which is the overall well-being of an individual, where that person is able to be productive, cope with daily life stresses, and also be a contributing member of the community, then you can see how wellness, comes in terms of social, the connectedness, in terms of your work, occupational and physical as well. Brilliant, thank you for actually putting it that way. Do we have another panelist who would like to contribute in regards to the link between mental health and wellness?
Okay, Gathoni, just to add on something.
Okay, welcome, Leshan. And then I'm going to invite you, Shamir. I will not forget that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think I just wanted to add, in addition to what has been said, is I think when it comes to prioritizing, because I think what helps me to balance is prioritizing. We cannot reach, the ideal situation, but you can prioritize. And I think when we look at mental health and wellness, which one do we prioritize first? I think that the link comes in when we prioritize mental health primarily, especially last year, and for very very many years when I was younger, I always prioritized intellectual wellness. I just wanted to be smart. I just wanted to be able to handle anything, and I left the rest. And so you could focus on that, but not find the balance, and that way you fail. So I think that when you prioritize mental health, that you are in a state where, as a person, you value yourself. As a person, you are okay with your values. You are fine. That is where the foundation of wellness starts. So the link starts where, because our thoughts are what materialize to be our actions. Our thoughts are what really become what we do. That is our actions, and that way we are able to really be productive, as it has been said. So you have to be positive. You have to be well in your mental health. That way you're going to be well now physically, in what you occupy, that is occupationally, and whatever you get to do is everything else is secondary, but mental health is primary. That way, is you arrive that balance, you have to start by prioritizing mental health. And so as you do that, you're able to really be well. That way you can now really achieve anything that you want. So for me, the link is in prioritizing peace and then achieving that. So that way, that is the link that I really feel that is where it starts. If you're well in your thoughts, you're well now. Everything else, because some things you cannot control. Let me say, like we I know we have several dimensions, but there is the component of environmental dimension. Look at the COVID-19 pandemic. No one really predicted it. It's no one's fault. So sometimes that brings and puts you under pressure, but you didn't control that. But if you're well yourself, if you're okay yourself, you're able to handle any kind of pressure that is going to come. You're able to really be productive. And that way you're able to handle everything step by step as it comes. And so I think that whatever comes to us, we need to be good ourselves for us to be able to face it. Thank you. Back to you, Gadoni.
Thank you so much, Leshan. Key point there, prioritize. If you prioritize your wellness, then you're able to achieve good mental health. Shamir, you wanted to add on to that. You are muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. First of all, I'm sorry for the second time. I've been in and out, but you can understand my situation. I'm traveling and I'm in a hilly place, Taveta. So you understand the situation here, the network is a problem. Uh, for those who didn't understand my introduction, my name is Adrian Shamir. I'm the founder and the executive director of Together Society. It's a CBO based in Coast Region. We are working in 4 counties: Taveta, Kwale, Kilifi, and Mombasa. Generally, we deal with sexual reproductive health rights, and also, I personally am a human rights defender. And apart from that, I've been a leader. I've been a student leader in Coast Region, representing all the universities and the colleges within the Coast Region. And I'm a former student of Cooperative University of Kenya, Karen. Generally, I wanted to contribute a little more about mental health and wellness. When you talk about wellness, someone might think that it's just a common thing because most of the people normally talk about wellness, but generally, majority of
All right. Shamir has dropped off briefly, but we have Yvonne on our panelist. What is the link between mental health and wellness, in your opinion?
Yes, thank you, Adoni, for the opportunity. A lot of insights have been said by Kathleen and Leshan. I just wanted to add something or is more maybe our question. So After hearing what they said, I would like to add or ask if is it right to say that both mental health and wellness affect how we think, feel, and act. So that's the link to me. They are both affect how we feel, think, and act.
Thank you, Yvonne, for that statement stroke question. Kathleen, you are here. We have to utilize your expertise in this panel. What are your thoughts on what Yvonne is talking about?
Yes. So you asked, stated that that's a very important thing. In mental health, one thing is normally paramount. The way you think affects the way you feel, and it affects the way you behave. And let's start with that thinking aspect. We can bring in the part of now intellectual or emotional wellness into that. They border or rather they major on the way we think. The way we think, our thought processes are accumulative. What can I say? Cumulative resources, basically, or things we've picked up according to the way we've been socialized. It influences the way our thought process, aka the point of view of an individual. So the way you think affects the way you feel, and it affects the way you behave. For example, if I wake up and I slept angry, I wake up and I bump my foot against the bedside. Pain is a negative feeling, and it elicits a negative behavior. So someone comes in and asks me, or that someone comes into your room and or they meet up with a family member and they ask you good morning, and probably your response would be like, "What's so good about the morning?" You have gotten a negative experience, bumped your foot, you are in pain, which is a form of a negative feeling, one of the main negative feelings that we have, or negative emotions, because they are normally three: anger, feelings of sadness, and feelings of fear. And pain falls under anger. So the way you will deal with this particular individual will be from a point of distortion, whereby you are already angry when you are interacting with them. But if you are aware, which comes, or rather self-awareness brings in the point of wellness per se. If you are aware of your feelings at that particular time, if you are aware that, hey, I'm in so much pain, probably I should just bite my tongue and not reply. And later on, probably I could address the salutations that maybe your cousin or even a nephew or a small tiny niece engaged you in during that particular time you're not doing so well. So, wellness is a component of mental health. You cannot talk about mental health without wellness. And mental health and wellness, weirdly, they are intertwined in that it all borders on your thinking affects your feeling, and it affects your behavior in the long run. I hope I've made something a bit clearer.
Thank you. Thank you, Kathleen. Yvonne, I hope that is more clearer. And I think also Leshan mentioned something in the line, in the same thought process, basically how our thoughts affect how we feel, and then that is followed by our actions. And if there's an action today, there's an action tomorrow, then it becomes your prevailing behavior. And to change that, the same actually applies. It has to start with your thought process, taking charge of your thought process and being more intentional about it. And that will affect how you feel, and then will lead to a positive action, and it becomes a new learned behavior as you're unlearning the old one. So thank you guys so much. We are actually running out of time, and I want to hear from the panelists as well as we wind down this conversation. How then can we be able to incorporate wellness to be part of our daily lives? I hope you guys can pick at an institution each. Maybe we can talk about school. Leshan is in school, so maybe you can tell us how can we incorporate wellness in school. Kathleen, you can tell us about incorporating wellness in the workplace. Let's see how we can incorporate wellness. I don't know if TJ can contribute to that, and Cherop in the family. How can we contribute? How can we incorporate wellness socially? David can tell us about that, and Yvonne, and then we can also talk about spiritually. How can we incorporate that? Because we want, when we are leaving this conversation, that people are going to be well equipped with information. So, Leshan, welcome. 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for that. I think I'm the youngest here, if I'm not wrong, and probably I'm just going to start by telling you why that point is important of being young. I think for a family's perspective, I think it's important that we raise our families in a way that they are safe spaces. They are safe spaces where we can open up and talk about work, talk about what is challenging us, talk about our problems. That way, after you grow up, you go to school. Now, where I am as the youngest, I think school is really that place where we have a lot of pressure. I hope, I think all of us have been in high school, and you know how you wake up at 4, you have to do this and that, you have to prepare yourself, you have to study, you have to do well, you have to balance between being an adolescent, sometimes, being curious and do other stuff. All that is pressure. And I think the only way we can incorporate this is by really taking a person as a very, very important component in everything. Let us not take people like material. They are not assets. They are not, things that are really supposed to be put under pressure to perform. I think the only way we can put this is by making people feel like they can open up and really say what they feel. They can cancel an appointment, because they are not feeling well. If you woke up today and your mental health is not okay, I think we should be able to incorporate this in our schools for us to speak out and say, I'm unable to do this because I don't feel well, because mental health is the primary conversation. And that way now, the only way we can do that, because now we are talking about curative, not preventive, is by really making sure that we are well informed as young people. For example, here at Egerton University, a classmate of mine formed an initiative called Growing Up and Lighting Initiative. It's an initiative to advocate for mental health. We need to incorporate more of these initiatives where people have safe spaces. So once in a week, you're able to go somewhere and open up without really being judged and say what you've been facing in the whole week. I mean, we all appreciate going back to our friends or girlfriend and telling them exactly what you felt at work today and how you felt this morning. That way, as you open up, you're opening an open space where people can open up clearly and say about their issues. And then we can value, as we make young people or the people or the students the assets, or we are making them like the foundation of everything. We are making them now open up and really be productive in life. And that way, as they feel like they are achieving, they also feel like they are okay and they are well generally. And so I think that the only way is for us to create avenues where people are valued and they can share clearly and are able to advocate and do their work and help others. So that is my way. I think it should be a priority. Mental health is a priority for everyone, whatever you do, because whatever you're bringing is being brought by your brain, and your brain is actually what makes what we call mental health. So thank you so much, and back to you, Gathoni.
Yeah, thank you so much, Leshan, for your wonderful, wonderful insights. And not just in spaces of higher education, but also in lower education as well, primary and high school. I think we have been seeing a lot more instability or unraveling within the school system of late. And I think some of those great insights that Leshan has brought into this conversation apply in those spaces as well, and could really be a game changer in regards to valuing the ideas of people and creating safe spaces for them, and really hearing them out and supporting them where necessary. Let's talk about our wellness within, socially or within the family setup. TJ.
Yeah, thank you, Gadoni, for this opportunity. And I will look it from the perspective of I like using examples. There is a difference between, a great percentage of us are we have mindful of the troubles or challenges we are going through. instead of we being mindful of our environment. You will find that in most family setups, you challenges do arise, and instead of people becoming conversant or aware of what is happening within their environment, they respond in accordance to what flows within their minds. So I look at this from the perspective of that it is quite important for us to be aware in terms of how we reciprocate our actions to what is happening around us. And in the process, you'll find that it helps in one way or the other to bring unity. And I'm looking from it from the perspective of what is happening in our society. When you look at the issues of sexual and gender-based violence, it has become quite prevalent, and maybe this can be having been exacerbated by COVID-19. The people that the way the workspace was disturbed by the COVID-19, people went back to their families. You are meeting a wife who has been a stranger to you, and you are meeting a child who has been a stranger to you. So, because of these social and dynamics that have changed, it has caused another leap of change in the family structure. Uh, okay, so mindfulness is quite key in terms of observing how you are uh, reacting or you are being proactive to issues within your social setup. For example, let me use this example of a farmer was walking his sheep to the field, and the sheep was thinking about the grass that was in front of him, and the farmer was thinking about the troubles that were back at home. These they were both their minds were occupied by one thing or the other, but the respect of what was present in the moment was what was different. So, for things from understanding the concept of where we are operating from as a family will affect the way we react or respond to issues. So now this also goes to the aspect of you've said actions and our thought process affects the ultimate actions and the decisions we make. So it's quite important. Thank you.
Thank you so much, TJ, for that very great insights right there. Just being mindful about your parenting, being mindful about how you do react or, tackle the issues within the family setup. I really like that. And wellness can actually really be taught right from the home, right from when the kids, are even younger. And it's important to note that also it would be much harder to teach wellness within the home environment if you're not well yourself as a parent. So remember, you cannot give what you don't have. That process of healing will start with you for you to be able to take it to the next level. Let's hear from David. Socially, how can we incorporate um, social wellness
Thank you,
in
Gaveni.
our day-to-day lives?
Yes. So what I'll say on how, as a person, you are supposed to incorporate social wellness. One is how well do you interact with others, and how well do you create bond? How well do you make sure that the bonds are maintained? For instance, most of us, I don't know how it's possible, but as for me, I may have a problem that maybe I keep losing friends, so I don't keep in touch with them. I don't. We normally don't communicate that much, but that's not the aspect. So for the bond to be there, you need to make sure that there's that continuum where the two of you, or you and your social group, there's that constant communication. Another thing I like to add on social wellness is, you as a person, are you able to create a safe space or a safe zone for others to thrive in? Of which, as human beings, I know there's that aspect to be individualistic in our thoughts, so in the way we behave, where as a person, someone will say, as for me, like it's me, or someone may say or use certain questions like, what about me? So in as much as you are trying to create that safe space, or that optimum space for you to thrive in. Make sure that that team of yours that is there, they also have uh, a good, let me say, a conducive atmosphere, so that they can also interact with you. They can also do whatever they are trying to do. And also on social wellness, I'd like to talk about the issue of vacation, and how well we strive to make sure that the community at large has grown. So I know each of us, or at least someone here, has tried to help someone, maybe last year or this year, or you're looking forward to do that. So this is also one aspect that you could maximize on. So as a community, it's okay to help someone, and it's good always to looking forward to volunteering and contributing something good to the society. Like most of us here, we've talked about us holding different positions in our places of work. So looking at that aspect already, we are contributing some changes, or we are making sure that the society at large is growing. Thank you so much, Gadoni.
Thank you so much, David, for that. I could not agree with you more. I think just having all of you come out, from wherever you came out from, to participate in this, conversation, giving your time, and time is very important. Resources really, this is part of taking care of your social wellness, because you get to connect with other people, you get to impact people from the different conversations that you're having, and then you also get to learn in the process from uh, your fellow panelists. So I love that you brought that up. Community connectedness, very, very important. It's actually the last part of the definition of mental health, and that is actually the one that is very, very highly neglected. It's become a me world until something happens to you. Then you're like, oh, okay, so this COVID is for real, you know. So I think if we take charge of ourselves and intentionally look for ways to contribute, then somehow it nurtures our own personal growth and building social capital. I think as Africans and as Kenyans, we've just been brought up to invest financially, just kashamba, past job kashamba. It's the only thing that reads in your mind. But social capital is absolutely very, very important. No man is an island. And one of the reasons why mental health was and poor mental health for that matter was very, very highly exasperated during the COVID was because of the isolation. So I guess we can recognize and genuinely just look at how do we redefine our social connectedness, and what can we be able to do now when we can be able to go out there and take advantage of that. So thank you so much, David, for your insights. Yvonne Oko, who is also here with us, is also going to be telling us about incorporating physical wellness in our day-to-day lives. Yvonne? Yvonne?
Yes, yes. Thank
Apologies.
you. Thank you again, Madam Gadoni, for the
Thank you.
opportunity. I believe we have several ways on how we can incorporate physical wellness into our daily lives, but I'll give some three, because what may work for me may not work for the other person. So I will just giving a three out. First one, I would make sure I have a scheduled workout time. Either it can be daily or weekly, where you set maybe 30 to 1 hour time for your workouts. That's my first one. The second one, I think embracing balanced diet can help in physical wellness. And the third one, of which I know a lot of people have been ignoring, is sometimes we have to listen to our body system. Sometimes our body can keep calling, and we have early signals of illness. So if you listen to them earlier, you can take precautions and advice from the doctor as early as possible. So that are my three, how we can incorporate physical wellness. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yvonne, for that. Absolutely. Physical wellness is very important. And if you're listening to this conversation live, or if you join this conversation after we are done, I want you to know that of all the coping mechanisms, physical wellness is at the top of the list. If you have a diagnosis, physical. If you're trying to prevent anything, physical wellness, just physical wellness. It's one of the only natural ways to ensure that your brain is able to naturally produce dopamine levels, yeah, and that also brings the feel good, confidence, motivation, and all those nice things about yourself, and the smile. They say you have higher chances of going for a date when you ask somebody when they are coming from the gym rather than when they are going into the gym, because dopamine levels have really been released. So, yeah, by all means, make sure that you're more intentional about physical wellness. We are going to hear as well from Rebecca and Purity in regards to emotional wellness. What is emotional wellness? How can we incorporate it in our day to day practices? Okay, they are waiting for each other to go fast. So let me just pick. Purity.
Sorry. Okay.
Having issues. Jesus Christ.
Thank you for reminding me about
Hi.
spiritual
You can hear
wellness.
me?
Yes, I can hear you, Purity, loud and
Okay. Emotional wellness, ways to incorporate that into our day-to-day lives. Um, I think a lot of times we are bombarded with thoughts. And for me, it's still a mystery how one is able to really uh, capture how our thought process is. And saying this, I would really recommend that we try and gather our thoughts. We try and measure how are we thinking about particular situations in life, because generally and obviously we are going to go through stuff. But how do we let the stuff that we encounter, maybe physically, how do we control it from affecting our thoughts negatively? And I'd say this is a struggle, even for me. And for me, when I find myself being sad, I have grown to an extent where I am able to identify what has made me sad. Is it something that I can control? Is it something outside my control? If it is outside my control, then I try and have make the serenity prayer, because I can't really control it. So there's no way I can let it inside. But if it is something that is within my control, then I critically look at it and try and find ways to be able to deal with that situation so that the sadness no longer is there. If at all it's something that's persistent, then I love music. So I listen to happy music. There is a particular playlist that I have that just boosts my spirit, and then I become happy. If at all it is dealing with anger, how do you deal with it? As well, I really like giving examples of myself, because I'm the only study person I can have. And I've had issues with anger quite a lot. And nowadays I tend to get myself out of the situation. Take a breather, go take a walk, count 1 to 10 backwards. It helps me quite a lot. And ultimately, what really helps me in my emotional wellness, and I think also something that we can incorporate, is some spiritualness. Pray. And I find that when I pray, then all the emotions that I may be dealing with that are jumbled up, they tend to come and I tend to have a balance. Then I am able to think if it is a problem I'm trying to solve, then I am able to become well, like in totality, then I am able to achieve that optimal wellness that we are talking about. So, and I wouldn't really say there is a rule book for emotional wellness, but find what works well for you. If it is dancing, then dance. If it is that listening to music, if it is sharing, because sometimes when we share and we cry out our emotions, then we come to that center of balance and we are able to go on well. Yeah, so thank you, Gathoni.
Thank you so much, Purity, for that. And also for just throwing in about, spiritual wellness. As we finish this conversation today, I would like to welcome Kathleen to just tell us about how we can incorporate wellness in the workplace, and also, tell us a little bit about what Chiromo Hospital Group is doing in regards to wellness within the work environment. Welcome, Kathleen.
Thank you so much. And this has been very holistic. So we're learning from each other. So just 5 ways before I share what we are actually doing, because they're among the 5 tips on how you can incorporate wellness within the workplace. The first thing is plan your day. So as simple as planning your day. Have a plan. Well, we normally, I've heard this statement before. Failure to plan is planning to fail. Have a plan on what you need to achieve on a said date to avoid that ambiguity and being helter-skelter and looking like a headless chicken, looking for something to do. You'll be overwhelmed. You feel overwhelmed with the duties and responsibilities you need to do. So plan your day, and that helps you to prioritize what needs to be done. When you have there's like a small box that is normally, you can grade yourself with urgency. Things that are urgent but not important, things that are important and urgent, and things that are not important and not urgent. So you'll be able to grade, you'll be able to be categorical in how you carry out your duties and activities at the workplace. So you will not be overwhelmed or stressed out, I say. Then to avoid slipping into routine, find new ways, innovative ways, become innovative in what and how you do your stuff. If you're an IT specialist, maybe oftentimes on LinkedIn or on Google, there are ways, new ways of being more productive, of doing something in a different, more time efficient, cost efficient even way. Try and learn in your field of profession. What can I do to add on to my expertise? What is being done nowadays? Keep up with the studies. You'll be able to deal with the intellectual bit of it, and in the long run deal with the mental wellness and in how you relate with people into the office. The other thing, um, EAPs, employees assistant programs. If your workplace or rather a work environment has a provision for this, by all means utilize it. In short, what I'm trying to say is that you might be having an in-house psychologist. If you feel overwhelmed and if you feel you need that assistance when it comes to planning on having a work-life balance. Basically, you could pop in to your psychologist, or rather wellness department in your office, or if you have an insurer, and these services are accessible to you per se, take advantage of them. You'll be able to take care of your mental health holistically and be more productive when you take care of the when you make use of the EAPs that the company has been made available for you. And finally, something that people normally ignore, take your breaks. If it's supposed to be an off day, take that off day. If you're supposed to go on leave days, don't accumulate your leave days ama useme I don't need a leave. I don't. It's very, very important to feel refreshed, to go and woosa the stressors that come with the workplace, to just go and reconnect with your family, to go and reconnect with your loved ones, to take care of your social wellness, your physical wellness per se. uh, and as Chiromo Hospital Group, in my department per se, we normally build awareness. So wellness starts from a point of awareness. If you do not know what mental health is, what mental wellness is, how do you deal with something that you don't even know what it is per se? So we build, we sensitize individuals and also corporates to try and demystify certain things revolving around mental health and mental illness, and now what we have going on, mental wellness. And the other thing we do as Chiramo Hospital Group, and the part that we play in this, we take corporates through a training, and we help set up employee assistant programs, whereby we want to normalize therapy even in the workplace. Why is it important to have an organizational therapist? Why is it important to have a counselor at the workplace? Because someone shared, and they said, when you detect something early, the effectiveness on dealing with it early at an early age or at a stage prevents it from metamorphosizing into becoming something disastrous and monstrous at the end of the day. So workplace wellness is closely tied to something we call work-life balance. So when you are aware, you'll be able to take those self-care tips, and the biggest one of them all is take your vacations, take your off days. You really need them. You're not a machine. You're not running on. You do not have a spare part. You do not. There's no brain spare to. There is no even brain transplant. Let's begin with that. So take care of your engine. Take it for service. Take your off days if they need be, and finally, you will also incorporate your social wellness in your workplace. That is also how you take care of your workplace mental wellness. You how to incorporate. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen, for that. Absolutely. We spend a third of our lives, in the workplace, ideally 8 hours. But, for us as Kenyans and Africans and Nairobians in particularly, we work for 12 to 14 hours. We don't even do the 8 hours. So workplace wellness is very important because you're spending so many hours within this environment. So being conscious about it, being intentional about everything that you're doing, and you're putting in yourself is very, very important. Not forgetting, obviously, the other aspect of our lives, because that's also the other thing that has been happening a lot. I think we've been socialized throughout our African life that the end of life is working. So you're allowed to be a child. You go to primary, secondary, college, after university, get a job, full stop. Yeah. So, when people start working, then that becomes, you're almost married to work. That's it. There is no any other aspect of your life that is working. So incorporate wellness as well. And if you're watching this conversation, please feel free to reach out to us. We have a toll-free line, 0800 220 000. If you're looking for social, psychosocial support, or even if you want to, discuss more about a workplace wellness and how we can get to you in your own workplace environment. Thank you so, so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being part of this amazing panel. And thank you so much for everybody who's joined this conversation online, or anybody who is going to find this conversation later. I appreciate all of you. And please allow me to just close this by reminding you, check your mind twice as often as you check your phone. Yeah. Can you imagine? Can you just try and imagine how many times you check your phone in the middle of the night, the first thing when you wake up, when you're going to the washroom, when you're taking a break, it's just phone, phone, phone. Imagine if you had the same energy to check up on your mind. How life changing that will be. That is it from me. I'm Gadoni Bogwa. Please stay tuned on Monday for our Mindful Mondays on Twitter, Pale Twitter, our IG lives. Thursday we'll be back here, and we also have Wellbeing Wednesdays as well on IG. Have a great afternoon and the upcoming weekend. Kwaherini.
Go ahead.